Hey developers, today we are looking at Nuxt and how we can use it as a headless CMS. We're going to see if we can create a blog, and we're going to see what other things we can do with content. So make sure you stay all the way to the end and you can learn all about it. Hey, and if you don't know, my name is Eric. I'm a full stack software developer. I'm also a big fan of Vue, React, and Angular. If you guys like those type of things, make sure you smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm and leave a comment below if you have tried this out. Even if you haven't tried, what do you think of Nuxt content? I want to hear you guys' opinion. Leave a comment below. I really appreciate it. And before we get too far, let's have a quick word from our sponsor. I just want to take a moment and thank our sponsor, .tech domains. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably love domain names and you love to buy ones that are short and relevant, but also most importantly available. And that's what's really cool about .tech domains. There's a ton of really cool domains available, and the .tech domain is broad enough that you can kind of understand that this is technology related as well. A lot of really cool sites are using .tech domains like Hollywood.tech, Viacom.tech, even personal sites like AustinEvans.tech. So if you guys are interested and you want to search for a really cool domain name, go to go.tech/Erik and then search for your domain name. If you end up buying it, you actually get up to 80% off on 1 year and 5 year domains. So go to go.tech/Erik and go ahead and pick up that domain name. Thanks. All right, so here is the page for Nuxt content. So you can see here some of the things it says. It's blazingly fast, view components and markdown, full text search. Now, I did a similar video for this earlier this week. So I wanted to show some things that are a little bit more advanced and that I didn't cover in the first video. So first, if you remember, I created this app that sort of looked like this. So you have this, this is actually part of a markdown file. You can click on the about and go to an about page, and then I added a little home link at the top. And the way this is all done, this is not too much to look for. I didn't add any CSS, but these are all markdown files. So here's VS Code I have opened here. And you see in the left-hand side, I have this blog. So I have this content folder, and this is what we need to do. So to get started with, just a quick recap if you didn't watch the first video, to get started with Nuxt content, all you need to do is do a yarn add Nuxt content or npm install Nuxt content at Nuxt content, and then you just add this module's Nuxt content in there. So if you look in my Nuxt config file, you can see here I added Nuxt content. And so that's pretty much it. Once you have those two things installed into a Nuxt app, you're all set. And remember, if you don't remember how to create a Nuxt app, make sure you have npm installed. You just run npx space create Nuxt app and then app name. So essentially that's how you do it. And if you are still confused about that, make sure you watch my previous video because I go over that, and I'll make sure it's down in the description too. So what we did in our last video is I created this. So a part of the new Nuxt content is we get access to $content, and from there we can give a path to our content folder. So essentially the root is this content folder, and then we put in what we want to get. So in this case, this says look at the param slug, and params, this is part of async data. Params is the parameters that are coming through the URL, and either load that, or if not, load index. And by the way, you don't have to put the .md. So in that case, it looks in the content folder, and I went ahead and created this in my last video, and it looks for this index.md, and so basically it loads this file up. So we can just do, I don't know, hi there. And if I do that, and I go back to new.nuxt, so you can see there it's in italics because we put the stars next to it, and so this is markdown. Now it does support, this package content supports JSON. Actually, let's see all the different formats it supports. I don't want to get this wrong. It supports Markdown, JSON, YAML, and CSV files. So if you want to just kind of create a Git-based headless CMS, you can create this files using Nuxt and then have Nuxt read it, and you don't need to install any special plugins other than this Nuxt content, and makes it really easy to use. So what essentially this does is it looks for the params. If not, it opens the index file, which is this file here. Now if I go and do /about, it opens my about page, which is really cool. It also, I put a link in here. So if I go back into my index file, you can see here's the way you do markdown links, and that works. You can also do Nuxt links as well. That's looks like this, Nuxt-link. So if I want to do Nuxt-link to about, and then I'll close it, and I'll go other link to about. I'll make sure I put 2 equals, and I'll do /about. Now you see other link to about, so it works the same way. So you can see there. So I was able to create it 2 ways, one using Markdown and one using a Nuxt link. So it's really cool that you can do it both ways in this app. But what I want to show you is a couple of other things. One is you can display built-in into this. If you look at, I guess it's under, let's see here, in display content, writing content, you can add, like I said, you can do different links, you can do footnotes, but you can also do code blocks. So listen, look at this. If I just put in this code block here and save it, and so this uses Prism, and Prism usually is marked by these 3 tacks right here, these 3 back tacks, and it closes back tacks, and then this will be interpreted as code, and since we put JS here, you'll know it's JavaScript. If we go back here, now we have this really cool block of code. So this is perfect for like a technical blog. You can easily add in code, and it does the syntax highlighting correctly because it's using Prism, and it's all built in. You don't have to install any more plugins or anything. So that's another cool feature of it. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is I went ahead and in this blog folder, I created this content folder in my last video, and I added about index, but I wanted to see what happens if I wanted to do a blog and I wanted to add content to that blog. So you might think, creating some folders. So in the content folder, I created blog, and then inside blog, I created these 5 blogs. And they're really simple. All they have is just some simple markdown. And by the way, you can add whatever you want to the top here. This kind of, you can put different things like title or position or description, and then you can pull that position, title, description anywhere you want to be displayed for you. So maybe we'll look at that, we'll take a look at that in a second. So, but right now I just have title and excerpt on this one. So I want to say, how can I look at this right here? Now, if I look back at if we could close this out, and I look at my pages again, I just have this slug. But once if I want to create a new one called all, and I just want to list all the blog content out. So how would I do that? So I'm going to create a new one, a new component called all.vue. And by the way, I typed vbase and tab, and that's because I have a VS Code plugin called Snippets. You can look at it in the extensions. You can click here and look in the extensions. It's Sarah Drasner's Snippets extension, and that allows me to just really quickly create the boilerplate for a Vue single file component. So I want to start here with this export default, and we're going to create a new async data. So what we're going to do here is create a way to grab all the blog content and display it on the screen. So I'm going to create a docs. I'm going to weight the content, spell it right, and I'm going to grab the blog. I'm going to sort by title, and then I'm going to fetch it. And you're probably thinking, what is this sort by? Well, this is a really cool feature. If you look at the official documentation, you can, when you're fetching content, you have all these different methods that are on the content. So you can do keys. So you can grab content and look at different keys. You can do where clauses. You can do sort bys. You can do limits. You can do skips. You can do searches. You can do surrounds and fetches. So basically you can take anything in that content folder and try to narrow down what you want to display, or display all of it, or sort it in certain different ways. And that way you can kind of get what you need. So in this case, I want to grab everything from this blog folder. And remember, the first parameter into this content is the path. And we know since content has a blog, it's going to grab everything in this folder here. And I'm going to sort by title, and then I'm going to fetch it all. And just to make sure it works, I'm going to console log. I'll call it docs. And we'll grab the docs here. and then I want to return it. So I haven't done anything except seeing if I can pull this all component up, and I just want to see if it logs everything for me. So here I'm back in the console here, in the Chrome browser. I'm going to open up the console, and I'm going to go to my new all component here. So you can see here in the bottom, see, is my fat head in the way? Oh, you should be able to see it. Okay, so you can see down here that I have this is essentially running on the server. You can see here I have this docs. It has this blog, the name of it, the excerpt, a table of contents, body, directory, path, extension, slug, and updated at. So that's all the information we need to be able to display a list of blogs. So to do that, since we now have this list here, and we can return the docs, we can go back up here, and I can do Nuxt content. Let's see here. Let's do a div actually. Let's do a div, and we're gonna do a v4, and we're gonna do equals doc in docs, because that's an array. We always put a key, so we'll put doc dot. I don't know if we looked at it. Slug is probably a good unique key. Slug. And then inside here, we're going to do a Nuxt link, and the Nuxt link is going to be to the doc.path, and then we're going to do doc.title. And if we wanted to, we could add in, not a Nuxt link, but I don't know, if we wanted to add in a paragraph here, we could do doc.excerpt. Excerpt. Not all of them have it. Excerpt. And let's see what that takes a look at. Now, cool. So you can see here's all the blogs listed and the excerpt. So I only put it on one, but if I go back into this blog and then content folder, I don't know, I can put it for all of them. So instead of just having it here, so now we have it all in there. Now we can see here, this is all the blogs and with links to all the descriptions. You could imagine this could be on your front page of your app, and you could just list all the blogs, and this could be like little excerpts from the first 10, I don't know, the first 10 words of it. You can probably do something like that. Now, if we notice here, let's click on one of these links, we get an error because we actually haven't set up how to render these. So we don't have anywhere this blog 42420 goes to. But you're probably thinking, well, didn't you add a slug in here? I did, but if you look at this content params.slug, this isn't going to give us the query params for the full URL. Let's take a look at what it shows there. Well, actually, this probably won't work because it fails before it loads. But essentially, you have to create a different folder for this. So I'm going to create a new folder called, in this case, blogs. And inside our blogs folder, and let's make sure we got that right. Hold on. Okay, this is actually blog folder. Excuse me. Should be rename it to blog. And then we can create a new slug, and this will handle the dynamic content coming from /blog. So once again, we'll do the vbase, and we'll do once again we'll do our async data, which we'll do async data. We'll do structured again, content params, and we can do const doc await content, and this time we're going to hardcode blog in here and then put the parameter in there. And so we're going to do string interpolation to make this a little easier. We know this is params.slug, and once again, if it's not there, we'll go to the index and we'll fetch it. and then we'll return doc. And now we should be able to actually display the content, and just like we did in the other one with Nuxt content, and we'll point the document at doc, and we'll close. Well, it's self-closing. Okay, so if we did this right and saved it, it should work now. So let's click on it. Let's see, we have an error. Okay, I fixed it. I just had to save, or I had to stop and restart the server. I guess it didn't like me adding the new folder. So now if I click on any of this, now I see my blog. That's really cool. So now I can see my blog articles. But one other really cool, useful thing is, what if we want to actually go back and forward between the first blog and the next blog? Like at the bottom of the article, go, would you like here, click here to go to the next blog, or click here to go to the previous blog. Now we could hard code those in to each one of the markdown files, but it'd be cool to have it like dynamically be created, because what happens if we add more content in the future? We want it to just, that little next button to work correctly for us. So this is kind of neat. What we could do is we're going to do a little destructuring. We're going to do a previous and next here, and then we're going to wait the content. Actually, let me do this the right way. Wait $content, and we're just going to grab everything in that blog folder. But this time we're going to do an only, and we're only going to grab, and this is an array, so we're going to grab the title and the title. This is an array of strings, and slug. And then we're going to sort by title, and we're making ascending. And then we're going to do the surround params.slug. And this basically says we're not going to go anything before one or after the latest one, after the last one, essentially. And then we're going to fetch it. And then we're going to return this as prev and next. Now you're probably thinking, like, where's this only, sort by, and surround? Just like I said earlier, these are different methods to just pick out exactly what we want. So now that we have those previous and next, we can then create some links to them. So we'll do this h5 here, and this is going to be very terrible CSS and HTML, and I apologize in advance. But we're going to do a vif previous. So we only want to show this if there's a previous, and we're going to do go. And then we want to actually have a Nuxt link here. Nuxt link. And the 2 is going to equals the previous.slug. Remember, that's one of the things we're returning on it. And we're going to call this go back. And we'll close the Nuxt link. And then we want to do another h5 for a next. So it's only there if this next exists. We'll call it go. And we'll do another Nuxt link. I'm going to copy and paste this one, make it a little quicker. And this will go to next.slug. And we'll call this forward. So if we did that all right, now we should have go back and go forward, and we should be able to go through them. So if we have our blog here, and let's pick the first one. So now we have a go forward, we don't have a go back. So here's the next one, the next one, the next one. Now we got to the end of it and can go back. Cool, so now we have all our blogs. It's dynamically created. If I go in, let's say I want to create a new content, a new blog. Let's say blog for 42920.md. And just for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to copy and paste all this in here. And I'm going to call this 29. 29. And now if I go back home, actually I didn't put an all in here, so let's do that. Let's go back to the index. We have an about, but let's go to all. Now we have an all, so now here's our blogs. And now we have our new one. It just automatically added to the list. And if we go into, I don't know, 27, 28, hit forward, cool, now we got to 29. So now it's going through all our blogs. So you could see, like, you could do cool things like that to make your website pretty dynamic and update whenever you need it. So if I wanted to add another blog, I would just add this new markdown file. Now this blog is looking pretty ugly right now. If I wanted to make it a little bit nicer, I'd probably go into layouts here, create a layout that shows everywhere. Probably mess around with this entry point to this slug. Like maybe I would surround this by information, because once you go into the Nuxt content, it's almost like a router. This will be just displaying your template content. Also, you could go into the content, the markdown files, and as I was showing you guys the last time, we can have our own components. See this sum component? So what I could do is I could make it an own alert. So if I didn't like just the regular markdown, I could put this content in between the opening and closing brackets, use vue's system to look at it in between the opening and closing brackets, the slots, that is, I'm thinking of the word, and then be able to like change the look and feel of that. So you can do all sorts of neat things. If you guys like this topic, maybe I can do another video where I show you how to highlight different things inside your markdown files by passing information in via props and using slots and slot props and I mean all those things. So let me know, leave a comment below if you guys want to see more on this markdown. I think it's really cool. It's pretty neat. Let me know. Thanks.